Okay, sorry about that. We are back here. I'll restart. Today is Saturday, January 4th, 2025. This is episode 1 of tonight's doubleheader of Bricks and Beyond, a creator showcase series. For those of you that are joining for the first time, Bricks and Beyond is a showcase series that highlights individual members of the LEGO community. Each episode of the series gives you a personalized look into the person behind the account. Nick, I see you're in here now, so let me introduce you. You are my first guest of the evening, coming all the way from sunny Australia. You are an rebrickable, which we will get into. You go by clicklever here on Instagram, but as I mentioned, your name is Nick. And without further ado, there he is. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm good. I'm
Good,
good.
good. How about you? Sorry about that. I
Good.
just wanted to make sure everything was good on your end, so I canceled and came back in.
No, I
So
appreciate it. I like you've
yes,
got such good lighting, beautiful setup. I'm just here, kind of sweating. I'm wet from the beach. I probably smell like the sea. So
yeah, yeah. See,
apologies. Everyone, look at Keith, like
yeah.
for the beauty.
You know what?
Just
Rub it in. Rub the beach in. As I told you, I'm sitting here freezing my tail off, and you're out. In the clear blue water over
yeah.
there. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
I'm
so
sweating, you're freezing. So between us,
we
we've
can't.
got a moderate
So, yeah.
temperature.
So how are
But thank you
you
so much
today?
for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
good. I'm good.
appreciate you
No,
taking the time to stop by.
no, I just really
What was on
appreciate you
your
getting me
agenda
on.
today?
Uh, just what my day is.
Yeah, yeah. So what was on the agenda for today?
I just got back from snorkeling at the beach. I saw a
Yep.
beautiful big groper and
Okay.
lots of fish, and then this afternoon I'm going to read a book. So yeah, and then I'm actually no bringing it back to Lego. I am doing some digital designing, so
Okay.
I'm going to be designing some sets on my
Oh,
computer. I was just
nice.
saying
Okay.
this
Now,
morning, like, oh, the good thing about having Studio on your laptop is that you can work everywhere.
yep,
But the bad thing is that you just end up working everywhere all the time.
yep. No, I got you. That's what I was going
Yeah,
to ask you because we'll get into that a little bit later on with your mock building. So I was
sure.
interested to learn about how you do all that. But yeah. So you obviously are from Australia,
Yep,
and you are in or near Sydney, correct?
that's right. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
a Sydney sider.
So for those of you, or yeah, so for those that aren't familiar with Sydney, can you kind of give us like some background on what it's like to live over there?
Yeah, Sydney's great. It's beautiful city in the world. It's situated around a coast, so we've got a big blue water harbour.
Okay.
Lots of cultural stuff is going on. We've got great coffee,
Ooh,
great food.
okay.
Yeah, and we are also home to the biggest Lego store in the world,
Is that
Pitt
the
Street
one you
Mall.
film it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
It doesn't feel like the biggest. It's very large,
sure.
but I'm like, oh, surely there's a bigger one. But no, apparently it's the biggest one in the world. So
Now,
yeah, it's great.
have you been to any other Lego stores anywhere else in Australia or in any other countries?
I've been to a few others in
Okay.
Australia. I went to a couple in Japan, which was really different
Oh, interesting.
because yeah, Japan is crazy with toys
Yeah.
and collectibles and
Yep.
trains and stuff. And so when you go, Lego's tiny in Japan. It's really not.
Oh, really?
It's
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and I think it's definitely kind of more like for kids a little bit. Like I was in there and the staff were looking at me like, "Who's this guy? This is like it's weird." But I think in the West, like AFOLs are more of a like a known
Yeah.
quantity.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, in Japan it's like pretty obscure. Japan's an
Interesting.
amazing country and a huge country, but I think there's only like 3 stores in the whole of Japan. It was quite hard to find.
I did not know that. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so when you're comparing the store that you're typically at to the ones in Japan, obviously probably a pretty big difference then.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it definitely feels more like a niche hobby
Yeah.
in Japan. Or in
Okay.
Australia, you walk around, people have the big yellow
Oh
yellow
yeah.
Lego bags.
Yeah.
You see people with that,
Yeah.
so you're like, okay, yeah,
Um, now I know Katie and I, Kincaid, we had talked about, so the
yeah,
Lego stores in Australia, they're called certified Lego stores,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, yeah.
And can
Yeah.
you, for those who might not know, can you give like a background on like what that means?
Yeah. So I think they're not run by the Lego group. They're
Okay.
run by a contractor
Yeah.
who
Okay.
licenses them, and they
Okay.
kind of run. So yeah, they're like the Lego. When I'm doing videos of it, it's like the world's largest Lego certified store. So it's
Yeah.
not a
Yep.
Lego store.
Yep.
It's There's some other weird arrangement going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, see
Yeah,
that threw me off because Katie does that on hers. I was like, I wonder why she's saying that. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
is that like just something you guys say, or is that? But then, yeah, when she
yeah.
brought that up, I said, oh, that's interesting. That's because that's kind of like the Lego lands. Like they're operated by that Merlin Entertainment Group, so it's like technically
Right.
not
Yeah.
Lego. Um, but do they? So do they?
This is the deep AFOL knowledge.
Yeah, yeah,
When you start to know the operating structure
yeah.
of different.
Now, is there is there point system all the same, or like you can earn points on the
Yeah,
sets and stuff? Okay,
pretty similar.
so you're
Yeah,
not
pretty
getting ripped
similar.
off then. So.
No, no.
Now what
Yeah,
so what are the so over here in the US, so
yeah.
like our stores are all pretty much the same. You have the shelves with all the sets, then you typically have like a
Mhm.
build a minifigure station,
Yep.
a pick a brick wall, and then or some random other stuff. But is that pretty much the same layout where you are, or is there anything like special that you guys have?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same layout. But what I'm sure you got it in the US, but the Brickman team, which is in Australia, they do really cool sculptures and
Yeah.
installations and stuff.
Okay. Yep.
So you have these like massive sculptures. They swap them in and out. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a rolling event kind
Okay.
of thing, which is really cool. So like they recently put in like a big manly fairy, and before
Okay.
then they had a Santa's sleigh, and before
Oh,
then they
that's
had
cool.
like a Wicked thing.
Okay.
Like every month there's something kind of going on. It's good. They make a real effort to make it, you want to come into the store and check out what's
Yeah,
happening.
we don't have that at my store. We have a big Darth Vader and a big pirate, one of the pirate minifigures.
Oh yeah.
And those have been there probably as far as long as I can remember.
Right.
So we do not. I mean, we're just like a store in a mall, and it's not a
Yeah.
massive store, but like
Yeah.
I've been to some of the Discovery centers, and
Uh-huh.
they have some of those bigger displays,
Yeah, they
but
have the cool
I
stuff.
feel like they're the same too. So you guys must just be getting all the good stuff over
Yeah,
there.
probably. But I mean, I always joke because it's like it's great that we've got the world's largest Lego store. I
Yeah,
ignore everything. I just go laser straight to the pick a brick wall. Just ignore everything else. I'm like, it's great all this stuff's here, but I'm not. I'm just kind of looking.
yep.
But you know what? What is good, to be honest, about a big Lego store is you see the sets built,
Oh
and
yeah,
sometimes I'll be like, oh, I really want to get like the
yep.
Barad set or whatever, and then I go in and I see it built, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need it. Like
Yeah,
as soon as I've seen it, like it kind of scratches an itch of just like I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I can see myself. And then I'm like, yeah, okay,
man.
cool. How much is that? $600. I just saved $600. That's boy math.
Can
I
you
just
can you
made six
teach me
hundred
your
dollars.
ways because I need that.
Yeah. The trick is having a very small house.
Well,
This is the thing with Sydney.
yeah. I mean, I do know some that we tend to keep stuff in their boxes, and we like to look at the
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah.
um,
No, a really, this is like perverse trick that I do. But if I want to set and I want to learn how, like what it's all about, I'll go on the lego.com website
yeah. Okay.
and download the manual
Yep.
and read the instructions, and
Okay.
that tricks my brain into thinking that I've actually built it.
That's
And then I'm like,
fantastic.
oh, and then I'm like, I don't need that's great. And because I mean, like, and to be honest with you, because I do a lot of mock building, one of the main reasons I'll buy a set is to learn the
Sure.
techniques.
Yeah.
Like the Polaroid camera was full of really cool techniques,
Okay.
and I ended up with that set because I really like it. But I buy very, very
Okay.
few. But if I do, it's to kind of be like, what can I learn
Sure.
here? Not necessarily for the object or the
Yeah.
artifact.
Yep.
And I would say, to anyone who like aspires to do a lot more mocks, reading instructions is fantastic. Just
That's a good point. Yeah. I,
yeah, because it's if you think about it, it's like some of the best designers
yeah.
in the world,
Yep.
employed by the Lego Group,
Yeah.
and they're taking the time to build stuff in very, very specific ways. And this is publicly available knowledge. So whenever I'm like, oh, I'm trying to build X or Y, I'm always like, oh, is there a set that did something like that?
Okay, yeah.
And often
That's
you can
really
get a really good
interesting.
insight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that. That's a really interesting way to look at things. I'm gonna have to start sharing that knowledge to others, who might be in that, position where, they're kind of on the fence of what to do, because that's they have the app, drawing a blank on what the app's called, but
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah.
of my buddies builds just with that app instead of the books. And
Sure.
he was telling me, like, yeah, like I was stuck on something last night, and I was like, man, if only I could see it the other way. He's like, well, do it on the app, because then you can flip it
Yeah,
and you can see like how it
yeah,
looks the other way. And I said, I didn't think about that.
yeah,
So for them to like take
totally.
that and make that available to, just your average person, like, you can learn a lot from that. So
Yeah, totally. That was a tip that I don't know if you know Caleb created. He was on Lego Masters season 4 with me,
I
and then he
saw
went on to
him in a video. Yeah.
Grandmasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he went on to Grandmasters. He was like, hey, a lot of the time, the right way to do there's only kind of one way to do
Sure.
something,
Yep.
like ball joints or
Yep.
gears. He's like, hey, there's one way to do something. So it's not you shouldn't feel bad about copying a technique or
Sure.
whatever, because
Yep.
it's like Lego's designed these pieces to work in this way. So
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
learn those ways, and then, and a lot of the kind of secrets are instructions. Like, I think a lot of people, when they get into mock building, they think that they have to do everything from the ground up. It
Sure.
all has to be original.
Yeah.
But, the best mock builders are kind of using
Yeah.
these tried and tested
Yep.
techniques, and then they're flourishing on them.
Sure.
It's like jazz. It's like you're
Yeah.
still using
Yeah.
the bass, the snare, the tom, or the drums, but it's like the improvisation on top of that.
I really, I'm glad I got to talk to you, because you're bringing a different light into things here. So I will
I
definitely
appreciate
share,
that, Keith.
I will share your passion on how you look into things with others, because that's a good message to share. So,
Sure, yeah,
um,
appreciate that,
yeah,
Keith.
yeah, for
Thank you,
sure.
mate.
So now, for people that don't know, if if you're over here in the States, it is actually summer over in Australia
Yeah,
right now, correct?
that's
Okay.
why I'm in a yes. That's why I'm in a dark room.
Yeah.
Because
and
yeah.
and I would say it was still Christmas though back on December 25th, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we still have Christmas on the same
Christmas.
day.
Well, so we have Christmas in July here. It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
playoff of it. So you technically have Christmas in July, but actually in December. So,
yeah, we do. That's right.
uh, so do you guys have any like special traditions that you do, or pretty typical celebration?
Typical celebration, but think like the inverse. So, like, Christmas for us is all about barbecues and
Yep.
swimming
Okay.
and,
Oh,
getting
I
sunburnt.
watched Bluey. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you guys do.
yeah, yeah. Bluey's a cheat code
Yeah.
to like
Uh,
just watch Bluey for Australian culture.
that's
We all love Bluey. Bluey's like a national
Yeah,
export.
yeah. That seriously, it came out of nowhere, and that was one of those things. Like, I have a son; he's going to be 8, and like we had really good stuff, like cartoons growing up,
Yeah,
and everything just seemed like it went downhill. And all of a sudden, Bluey popped up, and it was like, here's a cartoon for not only your kids but for the adults too. Like, I can't tell you how many adults I've seen that just watch it, even if they don't have kids. So
yeah,
it's wholesome. It's wholesome stuff for
yeah.
people. So.
Yeah, can't beat it. Oh, Alex just commented. Hey, Alex. Alex is was on season 4 of Lego
Oh, nice.
Masters with me,
Thank you for
and
joining us. We appreciate it.
she was on season 5. She's a phenomenal builder and a really great
Well,
person. So,
good.
what's
I'm
up,
glad to
Alex?
have glad to see her on here as well. Um,
Someone says we're watching Bluey right now. Yeah, if you're
eh,
on this stream, jump off the stream, watch Bluey. It's way way better.
you know what? I'm gonna try to get. Nick needs his own episode of Bluey here, teaching Bluey how to mock
Oh
build.
man, I know I know an actor I know is one of
Okay.
the voices on
Oh
Bluey.
wow.
He was
Okay.
Uncle. He was Uncle. I was like that would be
That'd
dream
be
man.
awesome.
I would love to be a voice on Bluey. That'd
Oh
be
man.
so cool.
You know what? When I'm done trying to get Lego to follow me, we're gonna
Yeah.
start trying to get Bluey to follow you, so you can get your voice acting.
I don't care what I say. It can just I want to be like an ancillary um character. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
be like
Yep.
I want to be like, oh, can't park here, mate. Like, I
Yeah.
just want some. I want a line like that, just being like, welcome to the coffee shop. What can I get you?
Ah,
Like
that would
that's
be
all I want.
fantastic. Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
and then
fantastic.
I can go to the conventions and they're like, oh my god, it's coffee shop guy, and they'll be like, do the line, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
welcome to the coffee shop. What can I get you?
The other thing that could be cool is if Bluey could get a Lego collab, and then you could do your interviews with your Lego microphone,
Yeah, yeah,
and you could be
true.
at the world's largest Lego
Yeah.
store. So,
Well, it's funny the Lego collab with Bluey. It keeps coming up
I
on
know.
Lego ideas,
I know.
and it'll
Yep.
hit 10,000,
Yep.
and then it'll tick over,
I know.
and then Ludo Studios must just be like, we're rich enough, we don't need we
Well,
we
Bluey's a Disney property, right?
I don't
I think so.
think so. Is
I
it?
think because they're on. I think it's on Disney,
Yeah.
right? If I'm not.
Because I'm pretty sure, I think because Ludo Studios, the guys that do it, they're based in Brisbane. That's where King Katie's is from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
if I just sorry if I doxed King's Katie just there, but
No. No.
yeah, they're based out of Brisbane, and they did a lot of, because yes, Disney, okay, because I know the studio, when they were sending it to the States, they wanted to localize it
Okay.
and change all the voices to be American voices.
Yep. Okay.
And I remember the Ludo guys were like, nah, it's all staying Australian. We're not,
Yeah.
that's like one thing we're not budging on.
Yep.
Um,
You
but
know.
yeah, maybe they've been bought out.
So I wasn't going to bring it up,
Yeah.
but she's not here to defend herself. So I'm going to bring it up anyways. Katie told me something about she remembers meeting you and something with a cupcake.
I can't I can't remember. I have so many, no, for real, I have so many weird interactions with people that like, people will be like, oh, I met you and you were holding like all this beds, you were holding like some bedding and you were in
Yeah.
pajamas. And I'm like, I don't remember that, but that happened.
She told no, she said it was some. I am drawing a blank now, but it was something you
Okay.
gave her a cupcake for something. So I don't know what it was,
Okay.
but yeah, I said I won't bring it up. But since you brought her up, I
Okay.
figured I'd bring it up. So
Okay. I can't remember that, but yeah, I'm sure that happened.
yeah, yeah, I would trust she wouldn't lie about a cupcake story. All right. So, I know you and I chatted about this a little bit, but I'm sure
Sure.
it's on the mind of everybody.
Yeah.
Um, Over here in the States, we hear a lot of horror stories
Yeah.
about
Right.
creepy crawlies in Australia.
Yeah.
So, what's crawling around over there, and are the stories true?
Yeah. Yeah, they are true, but it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of, you don't, like, Australia is full of deadly animals, but if you grew up with it and you live with it,
Yeah,
it's kind of just every day.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, there's a snake, there's a shark, there's a spider, whatever.
yeah.
It's not, but it's like, it's funny because I'm like, oh, it's not like that. There's not like snakes and spiders everywhere.
The rock
Um,
spiders.
but
Oh,
but but then, like, oh, today I saw two kangaroos fighting. I'm like,
nice.
yeah, I guess, but I'm like, I guess that's just whatever. I guess it's just
I
normal.
I guess you
Um,
can equate kangaroos fighting. Like here we have a lot of deer, so I guess you can equate
yeah,
that to like the bucks like bucking the horns.
yeah,
Maybe I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
to me, it'd just be
It's like,
funny seeing two kangaroos like popping each other.
yeah. But I think the thing with Australia really is like we have such a fantastic diversity of wildlife,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
it just so happens that snakes and spiders and stuff make up part of that. But
Yeah.
like, if
Yeah.
with that you get beautiful
Yep.
butterflies and mantis and cicadas and birds and frogs, and so it's like a whole ecosystem.
Yeah. So the
um
stuff people don't talk about. You have good stuff to look
yeah,
at.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, Ben's here. Hey, what's up, Ben? Ben was on season 6 of Lego Masters, I
Okay.
believe.
All right. Hi, Ben. Thanks for
And
stopping by.
one of Ben's favorite sets is the Creative Monkey Fun set, which is my favorite thing about it.
I have to look this
Do you
up.
know that set?
I don't know.
You can build three monkeys with
Oh yeah, yeah.
any
Okay.
number
Yep.
of expressions.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I have seen that before, so I do know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes I'll pick something off by name of it, but yeah, I do know what you're talking about now.
yeah.
Um, all right, so let's get into some Lego chat with you here.
Sure.
All right, so When do you remember when did you start into Lego? Were you little or were you older?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So my journey was like, I always had Lego when I was a kid,
Okay.
and I love playing with it. But I'm the oldest of like 12
Oh,
grandkids.
okay.
So I was always the oldest, and whenever everyone used to come over, all the kids wanted to play,
Sure.
and I'd always be, 5 or 6 years older than
Okay.
everybody, and all the kids would be like, "I want to build me a car, build me a gun." Like they always wanted me to build them a gun or whatever.
Okay.
So I would always free build stuff. Just
Oh, wow.
we'd get
Okay.
the Lego out of a big
Yeah.
container and
Yep.
put it onto a big, like a doona, like
Sure.
a
Yep.
sheet,
Okay.
and pour it out, and I would build that way. And I did that, when I was a kid and until, I was a teenager.
Okay.
Actually running us, what is Lego? What is Lego? Lego is a state of mind.
Yeah.
So
It's a
I was always
passion.
building, yeah. So I was always kind of building that way. And then, I moved cities. I left all my Lego at my parents'
Okay.
house, whatever. And um, then COVID happened.
Mhm.
And when I was in COVID, one of my friends, Gene, sent me a message saying, "Hey, they're casting for Lego Masters. We can't do anything else. Do you want to? Do you want to go?
Sure.
Do you want to just? Do you want to apply?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we kept. It was like the greatest joke that just kept going. We were like, "Yeah, let's apply. Oh yeah, let's make a self tape." And the self tape was really goofy.
Okay.
We were like, this is ridiculous. Because we both loved the show. We were both
Yeah.
big fans of the show. We'd seen season 1, 2, and 3,
Okay.
and we'd loved it. It was our favorite show. And then we just kept getting further and further along the process, and it kept being funnier. We were like, "Oh my god, we're getting called in for," because you have to get called by a psychologist, and you have to go
Really?
to a doctor and do physicals. Yeah, yeah, it's really
Wow.
intense.
Interesting.
It's really
Okay.
intense. They ask you all
Okay.
these questions. They ask you questions like, "Do you have any enemies?" Is one of the
Wow.
screener questions.
Hmm.
Um, and
Interesting.
yeah, so we just kept going along and along and along, and then they were like, "Yeah, so anyway, filming starts, in 20 days. We'd love to have." And we were like, "What is
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
This is crazy."
Yeah.
That we, because I'd built before, but I wasn't good. So if you watch our
Sure.
season, you can kind of see Gene and I being like, "All right," the first episode we're like, "Okay, how do you
Yeah.
actually do this?" Um, but I think, like I always say, like you can learn building, but having a kind of creative spirit and a creative soul is kind of what's more important.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're both quite good creatively. We're both quite good with deadlines and pressures and briefs.
Sure.
So we kind of learn how to build there. And
Okay.
then what I love about the Australian Lego Masters is that what you're doing is kind of like each episode is like a lesson.
Okay.
So episode 1 might be about like, oh, how to do this, or how do
Oh,
you make
interesting.
how do you motorize something, and the next one might be like, oh, how do you make something that it tells a really good story, and the other
Sure.
one might
Okay.
be like, oh, how do you make something with a really limited palette. So by the end of it, you've kind of had this amazing one-on-one
Yeah.
fantastic
Okay.
course. So I came out of it actually being like, oh, I've got these skills, and I can actually kind of like build stuff,
Sure.
and I kind of love it, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it really reignited that passion. And
Okay.
I'm not sure what you do for work, but my work is all screen based. So I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
this is amazing because I can be creative and have fun, but I
Sure.
don't need to be on a computer. I don't need to be on a
Yeah.
screen.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, it's been really sustainable and really fun, and getting to know the community, people like you, people like um, uh, um, Al and Ben, and all the friends I made
Sure.
from
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
our season.
Yep.
Having that like really lovely community has been so super nice.
Yeah, that is one thing that I tend to that I pick up on. I did get to watch some of the Australian Lego Masters. I was going through some of them this morning. Um, but from the U.S. side, I've been lucky. I've been able to talk to a couple that have been on the
Yeah,
show,
great.
and
Yeah,
uh, it's really interesting that like when you see somebody on TV, like you have that expectation of them, like they're not like a real person, basically.
yeah,
But
sure.
then when you actually get to talk to them, like they're as real as it gets. They're a real person, and they have
Yeah,
everyday lives that aren't Lego. And it's really
Yeah,
neat to hear like what they do with their lives when they're not when they're not on TV. So
yeah,
yeah, it's nice watching those bonds, and you can see the bonds grow like as the episodes go. Like you can see that you know uh, people learn how to work. Well, most instances
yeah,
learn how to work better together. So
yeah,
maybe not
yeah.
all the
Most of the
time,
time,
but
not all the time. Most of the
and plus,
time, but yeah,
I know you said what you see on TV for the Australian Lego Masters might not be exactly the same as how the US films theirs because there is
sure,
a lot of drama, and I did not see that from what I saw on the videos I watched. Like, there's
yeah,
some stuff, but the US one, it's so like, I mean, it's cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger stuff. So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was nice to see a more like down the earth story tell.
Yeah, it really is. And the producers would, because we were such great friends, we were kind of like locked up
Yeah.
together in the
Yep.
hotel.
Yep.
And so we were having movie nights and we were watching the original Star
Oh,
Wars prequels.
nice. Okay.
And we were joking about that and just being silly. We're having dinner together and we were lending each other parts and
Okay.
helping each other with our builds. So the producers had to be like, hey, you need to pretend that you want to beat the other teams at least. Like the producers were like, can you just say that you want to beat Josh
Yeah.
and Henry? Can you just
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that? And we're like, all right. So like you have to. There was an element where you have to act a little bit
Yeah. Okay.
because I'm sure I can speak for the whole cast, but nobody really cared about winning.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
nobody
Yep.
really would, you know, do anything underhanded to. Like everyone just
Yeah.
wanted to do their best builds, and
Yep.
if it impressed the judge, then great job. And if it didn't, then you've got try again next time.
Yeah.
You went for it and you put everything out there.
Yep.
So yeah, it was just like it was always awkward with the producers being like, "You just got to fire up a little.
Yeah.
You got to
Yes.
give us a bit more to work with." Because the audience has to be like, oh, these everyone wants to win and it's competitive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
so hard because it's like everyone's your friend and you want everyone to do well. Like you
Exactly.
don't want someone to fail. You
Sure.
want someone to put up an awesome build and maybe it doesn't, you know, the only way you want to win is if you do something that's kind of cooler than theirs. Like
I think
you don't,
that's yeah, I would say I think that's more of a rewarding experience too. Like
yeah,
you don't want to win because somebody did bad. Like you want to win
exactly.
because they literally had the pick because it was that difficult.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I did see I did watch the one where we had the first ever tie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah,
um,
yeah. Which
which
one was that?
which speaking of that, what so you guys didn't do a gold brick, you did a titanium brick?
Yeah. With
Okay.
with Lego Masters in Australia, every year they have a different brick, which
Oh,
is like
okay.
a gimmick. So you have a gold brick, then there's the platinum brick, then
Okay.
there's the titanium brick,
Okay.
and they had a huge one. They had one that's like it was
Okay.
massive. You
That's
need two people to carry it.
oh,
It
that's
was
funny.
genuinely really
Yeah, yeah.
heavy. So every time they do a different kind of theme
Interesting.
brick.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Well,
remember that one when they did the judging.
yeah.
They took ages, and we were just all kind of standing there.
Yep.
And because the titanium brick, for a bit of background for everybody, not titanium. It's just a regular white brick that they spray painted with some sort of chrome. So,
Uh,
so when they split the brick, you could tell that 5 minutes ago they were out the back with a can of spray paint, just you know, spray painting it to make a new one.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, the titanium brick. So, if I'm not mistaken, did you and Gene, right, your partner?
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Gene, my partner.
you
Yeah.
guys, you had a win streak, didn't you? That it was up to like
Yeah.
five. Was it five times or was it more in a row?
I think we won. I think we won 7 challenges in a
Oh
row
wow.
for
Okay.
five episodes, something like
Okay.
that. And it's so far unbeaten. Um, I would say the first few were
Okay.
skill, and then luck, and then a little bit
Yeah.
of luck. Especially that bridge episode.
Wow,
We
that
were
was
like going into that.
impressive.
We were going
Yep.
into the bridge episode. We were like, "There's no way they're going to give it to
Yeah.
us. It's going to be really boring, just for one team to be winning all the
Sure.
time." So whatever we do, if it's a tie, they'll give it to the other team. That's fine. We're
Yep.
done. We've had fun. we're done with it. And it just so happened that our stupid, idiotic bridge was the one that stayed up. And there's something that they cut out of the episode, but if you watch season 4, which episode is it? Season 4, episode 6.
I can't remember the exact. Yeah, it was something that
Yeah,
seemed in the middle. Yeah.
if you want to watch the Australian season, the challenge was to build a bridge that would stay up, and there were two
Yep.
plates on either side that would kind of do this, and it had this really disgusting kind of motion that would make your bridge fall apart. And my partner Jean and I, my life partner Cesal, we built just an extremely heavy
Yep.
bridge with kind of no engineering. We
Yep.
just kind of just
What
made it heavy.
What was the name of it
Like
again?
heavy
Heavy
boy. The
boy.
heavy boy. Yeah, so we just kind of, and it just all, we had a kind of a plan, it just all fell apart. We were like,
Yep.
whatever. And it kind of ended up just like floating on top.
Yeah.
But at the
Yep.
end of the episode, it stays up inexplicably. But what they cut out was Hamish peels the top off the bridge
Oh,
to look
okay.
underneath at what is in
Yeah.
there. And inside was just Technic lift arms
Okay.
snapped in half, just fully snapped, and dust. Just where the plastic had just
Wow.
rubbed to just
That's
absolute
crazy.
dust. It was just
Holy
carnage
cow.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
man, that would have been
absolutely
funny to
wild.
see.
Yeah. So yet another example of us failing forward. The whole season was just us failing upward.
Well, because I wanted to ask you this because you were obviously there watching it. There's been a
Yeah.
couple episodes on the U.S. where they use that dial thing, and I
Yeah.
feel like for different people, it's like,
Yeah.
well, this team's on level 1 for like 5 minutes, then they're on
Yeah.
level 2 for a second, then they're on 3. It's like it feels like it's not consistent. Is that how it is, or is that just like the TV filming, like kind of breaking it up in a way to make it look like that?
The way they did it for us was they had the dial. The dial did nothing. The dial was not connected to anything.
Oh, really? Oh,
No, it was so basically like they'd turn the dial and then Hamish would just like wave to like a
oh
roadie
my
camera
gosh.
and be like this, and then he
Yeah.
would like adjust it.
Well, there goes
But
my
yeah,
hopes and dreams.
yeah, well, I mean, for the heavy boy, they just kept it on maximum for
Yeah,
ages,
yeah, yeah,
and we
yeah,
were just like, it's not gonna fall. We wanted it to fall
yeah,
out
yeah,
because that's
yeah.
another thing with Lego Masters. It's like people watch the show, and when something falls over and smashes, they play all this dramatic
Yep.
music. But for us, we were like, yeah, because you spend 14 hours building something, you want to see it smash. It's like it's the most fun thing. Yeah, like it's
Uh,
great. Like nobody
yeah,
cares.
yep,
So they'll cut to your reaction being like, but
yeah,
really,
yeah.
but they what they have done is they've edited out the part where you're like, yes, this is awesome. It went everywhere. It's totally
That's
destroyed.
funny.
Rowan the
Oh
Builder
man.
says, Galador or Jack Stone, pick one, keep one. Pick one to keep, one to kill. I think I would marry both of them. I would marry Galador and kiss Jack Stone, I think. Actually,
Um,
I really like all the Galador parts. They're quite rare in Australia. I wish I had my grubby hands on more Galador elements.
when
Though I
when
probably yeah,
when was that
probably
released?
probably 1996 or something.
Okay. Yep.
Rowena builds, you let me you let me know. There's all these great themes like the Scalia theme and Galador and stuff where I'm like, oh, really?
I I just
Nexo
got.
Knights?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just got not too long ago. I got somebody gave me some Nexa Knights and Bionicle
Cool,
stuff that I haven't gone
cool.
through yet. But um, I'll just bring it up. I feel like I bring this up on every episode. Is that as much as I love Lego sets,
Yeah,
they're so instruction oriented now. Like there's just not much creativity anymore.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
and I think that's like one of the best parts about watching Lego Masters is just watching you guys build. I mean, because it's incredible what your minds come up with just by I don't know, like a trigger of like we're gonna do this
Yeah.
theme, and then like so typically. How long for like some of the stuff that you and Gene did? Like, how long would it take you to like actually piece some or like plan it out?
Oh, we were really quick,
Okay.
actually. That's one of the things we were really lucky. We would just be like, you know, uh, they would say, "Hey, you're going to do something mechanized powered by the wind," and Gene would
Okay.
be like, "Why don't we do a kind of rock star guy on an amp,
Yep.
and he's shredding and headbanging, and the motion is powered by the wind, and we'd be like, go. And it
That's
would take
crazy.
us, and we'd say, yeah, 30 seconds. We'd be like, yeah, cool, commit. And we just go
That's
straight to it.
crazy.
I think we both, it's because I think we kind of really liked what we never had to kind of like go back
Yeah.
and forth, or
Yeah. Yeah.
by the end, literally by the end of because what happens is they say, hey, you're going to do this episode.
Okay.
They do that all on camera, and then you have another challenge brief. So in the challenge brief, they say, okay, so here's the challenge. We've tested it this way. The one like the first episode was like it was going underwater.
Okay.
So they were like, please don't use motors.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There's no need for
Yeah.
Technic in
Yep.
this.
Okay.
So they give you a few extra bits and pieces, being like,
That's
hey,
nice.
just a watch out, don't do
Yeah.
that. And they really try not to put their finger on the scale for your creativity, which is
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
They
Sure.
really try not to lead you in any direction. And often by the time we'd had the end of the challenge brief, I'd be like, I've got 3 ideas, and Gene
That's
would be like,
crazy.
I've got 2 ideas.
Yeah.
Let's write them down and just see where the heat is.
That's crazy. Oh, man, I wish I
Yeah.
could do that. It takes me forever just to think of how to, I don't know, build something small.
No, ideas are cheap. Ideas are cheap.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have 10 ideas a day.
Yeah.
Rowena Build says you've got the world's largest Galador collection. Oh, very
I
cool.
don't think I've ever even met anybody with a Galador collection. So
2002. That's yeah.
that's when it was.
I
Okay.
feel yeah, yeah. I feel
Um.
like there's that kind of like between kind of almost 98 and maybe like 2010, it kind of feels like a lost decade of
Yeah. Yeah.
Lego.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
not many people were into it,
Yep.
not much was kind of, so it's like it's rare that people like those are kind of themes that kind of got lost in the mist a little bit
Yep.
when they started doing, you know, I feel like Lego now is like so mainstream. There's so many sets. There's so
Yeah.
much attention on it.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much have something in every aspect. Yeah, the TV, the movies, the games. I mean, it cleared
Yeah.
out North America. Oh, that explains it why, because I'm in North America. So.
You need to be stopped. Stop this man. Stop this man.
All right. So your the mocks that you do.
Sure,
Do
yeah.
you remember what was the very first mock you ever made?
Uh, I don't know. Probably when I was a kid, I did lots of mocks. Probably
So
lots of like,
let's go with adult age then. What would you say?
yeah,
What's the one you can remember the farthest back you can remember? Like
yeah.
something memorable.
The first one I did after Lego Masters was I made that a little. It's on my Instagram. There's a little mechanical fish tank, where you
Yes.
kind of
Yep. Looking at
climb,
that now. Yep.
and yeah, and I wanted to make that because I saw the Bricklink um, clockwork fish
Oh
tank.
yeah. Yep.
And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I looked up like how much it was to buy because it was out of stock or whatever. And I was like, $300. Okay, so I guess we're making our own fish tank.
Some of us
But it
don't
was
have that benefit.
yeah. But it was a cool challenge to be like, okay, it's interesting how Mark Smiley is the original designer. And I was like, yeah, it's interesting how he did it. I want to do my own spin, but I want to use some of the colors, and I want to
Okay.
kind of have some of the same elements.
Sure.
And what's been lovely about that project for me is that it's the first one I did, but I've kept revising it.
Okay.
And so I get better as a builder, and I go like, oh, that mechanism could be more compact, and I redo that.
Okay.
And then I go like, oh, you know what? Maybe I could add a secondary or a third mechanism in there, and then
Sure.
I redo that. And I'm like, oh, the lid is a bit, I don't really like how you can't look in, and I redo that. And it's kind of, so for me, that mock is kind of like it's like an extension of
Sure.
things that I learn. I keep coming back to it and putting,
Okay. Yep.
new
Yep.
things into it. And that's one of the great things about, I think, making Lego mocks, that
Agreed.
it's never done. Like a lot of what I do, because I'm a video editor,
Okay.
when you work on film or TV or a commercial, it gets sent out and it's over.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
finished. You can't have
Yep.
that lasting relationship with it. You kind of can't think about like, oh, what if I could make it better? You can't go to something 10 years later and be
Yeah.
like, I've got all these great insights, all these new pieces have come
Yeah.
out, I
Yeah.
can just
True.
keep working
Yep.
on it.
Yep.
And that's my Game Boy is something that I've just been working on like non-stop. Like
I
a
was
new
I
part
was
comes
looking at
out.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, a new
Yep.
part
That's
comes out, and I'm like, I've got to revise it. I can make it better. I can make it better. And that's like, it's fun because it's like a personal challenge to be like, oh yeah, let's kind of do this in a way that's like it's more compact, it's more user
Sure.
friendly, it's more fun to build, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at that Game Boy because that's a blast from the
Yeah.
past. And I mean,
Yeah.
what's the scale on that Game Boy? Is it pretty much to scale to an actual Game Boy?
It's like millimeter
Uh,
1 to 1
you could
almost.
put those two next to each other, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you probably were far away, you probably couldn't even tell the difference. I mean, it's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
impressive build. I enjoyed that. Now
Yeah.
the one on Lego Masters, is that related at all to the one of the rock stars you have? Because didn't you guys do a build with something with a rock star? Now is that something to do with your mock, or was that completely different?
No, we did. So we did, and then I always wanted to kind of go back
Yeah.
and revise
Okay.
that. Yeah, Rui Bill says a mock is never complete. Absolutely
Yep.
true. Like, yeah. Um, and yeah, so we did that on the show, and there's a couple that I did on the show that I want because you have such limited time and you have
Yeah.
such a limited palette. It's always fun to be like, okay, if I could do this same concept but do it exactly how I want to do it,
Sure.
what would it be
Yep.
like? So that one was really like, I want to pay a tribute to an idea that we had
Okay.
because like it's a cool
Yeah.
original idea. And I was like, I
Yeah.
love this, and I wanted to kind of and the cuckoo clock we did in episode 4 was kind of like
Oh,
a full size cuckoo clock.
yep.
Yeah, and I was like, that would be so great to redo that, you know, with all the mechanisms and everything working. And
So,
then the Van Gogh set came out, and I was like, oh, this is a great hanger, so you can make it so you hang it up on a wall. I was like, so that's one of the next ones to kind of pay tribute to.
okay, so I wanted to ask you about that one. So
Yeah,
I saw it. I didn't get to watch anything about it. So
sure.
was at that time, was it a working cuckoo clock, or was it just stationary?
Yeah, it was working. So
Okay.
Gene, my partner, and I, were the way our kind of team divided was that he would kind of do all the technical stuff.
Okay.
So all the mechanism stuff, he's an absolute whiz with that stuff. And I was like, Gene, I'm not touching a Technic piece this whole time.
Yeah.
I refuse. Um, so yeah, it was working. It had a hand dial, a minute dial.
Oh, that's nice.
Sorry, an hour hand and a
Yep.
minute hand, all kind of spinning around. It had all these secondary mechanisms inside with
Okay.
chains going and
Oh,
you
wow.
know bits and pieces. So it felt like the kind of minifigures inside were kind of living in it a bit.
Yeah. Yep.
But what Brickman wanted us to do was to get a cuckoo coming out and then kind of
Oh,
coming back in at
okay.
intervals. And we
Yep.
were like, this is not happening, dude. We were like, we could do that, but we're not those
Yeah.
designers. Someone else is gonna do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so is that something you're going to attempt?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
what's the ETA on that?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably I do want to do it this year.
Okay.
It'll be something that happens this year because I think it
Okay.
would also be great. It'd be such a great Bricklink designer program or
Ooh.
Lego ideas set.
Yeah.
It feels like the right size and the right scale and the right amount of pieces, and you know you can put the 4 minifigs in there. I've
Yep.
always thought like, oh yeah, it would have a real chance as that, you know,
Sure.
as a kind of product like that.
Yep.
And that's just like a secondary thing. Whenever I'm doing a mock, I'm always kind of thinking like, okay, what's the audience for this? Is it
Yeah.
just like, oh, if you want instructions, if you want to put it on ideas, or is it a designer
Mhm.
program kind of set, or is it just kind of like a fun meme build
Sure.
that you just stick up and you know
And
everyone
yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
has a
Yep.
laugh at it? Yeah.
Well, if you get that finished in 2025, please share it because I'm sure amongst some of the friends on here, we could probably get you to 10,000 really quickly. So,
Yeah. Day one. Day one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get you to be fastest at 10,000.
Yeah.
Um,
But I
uh,
was just going to say, with a lot of my mocks, most of them now I try and do instructions. But if you want, or anybody asks about it, or anyone watching, if you want instructions, just DM me and I'll send you the link because I have them all on Rebrickable for
yep.
you know whatever price. But what's more important for me is just people get to build them really. So you know,
Awesome.
I kind of have like a default price, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you're curious about any of them, even if you just want to check out the
Yeah,
techniques. If you're like, oh, how's
yeah.
that done? You don't want to build it, but you just want to get an insight. Happy to share instructions
Well,
with
I
you guys
already told
anytime.
you I want a microphone. So if you
Yeah,
can
okay.
share those with me.
I will. Yeah, I'll send it through.
Because I saw when you were using that, I was like, is he seriously using a Lego microphone? I said, how the heck did he get that? And then I was looking at your page. I said, that's exactly how, because he knows what he's doing here. So, um, no, I wanted to step back because, see,
Sure.
you've been very enjoyable because I usually come up with like a list of what I want to go through, and you've just
Yeah.
like bounced me through like all these things, and like I have some things I wanted to ask you here, so I'm going to go back to those because
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt because I like playing off of the questions. Um,
Yeah.
so for those that didn't know, I believe you told me you actually started with random theme, not random, but one of the bigger themes you started with set wise was Speed Champions,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. I
Okay.
love Speed Champions. Yes. Yeah.
Now I
But
know there
I'm
is
not a
a
car guy
yeah
though.
that's
I'm not a car guy. I basically build it and then I'm like, cool. Then
yeah.
I just kind of like take it
Now,
apart.
if I'm not mistaken, did you build a car, right? On
uh,
Rebrickable, you have
uh,
one?
yeah, I built one that was a commission. Someone wanted a very specific
Okay.
like Ford GT Turbo or something like that,
Yeah,
which
Ford
is it's
Falcon
like
XR6.
yeah. The Ford, and this is like, well, Ford Falcon owners will admit to this. It's like a bougainville. It like sucks. Like, but I love them. I love them so much. It's like the worst car on the, but they're like randomly super powerful and really reliable. It's like if you see, they're like the car that someone is like definitely drink driving
Okay.
in. Like they all smell like cigarettes. Like they're all that, and they're like they often have like the fluffy dice, so you'll get like a
Oh,
purple one,
fantastic. Yeah,
purple
yeah,
and
yep.
yeah, they're like yeah, I'm like they're like the least fancy car, but they're my favorite. It
I have
probably is about
I've never heard of a Ford Falcon before,
yeah,
ever.
they're Australian. I think they're an Australian
I
only kind of
see
model.
I searched it up and it says they actually were in North America from 60 to 70. So it
Yeah,
was something at some point, but it looks like it was pretty much just in Australia. So,
yeah,
see, man, you're teaching me. And then another thing, which I know Katie would probably cringe if you said this.
sure.
You're not a Fast and Furious fan.
No, I'm not a Fast and Furious fan. I'm not a Marvel fan, really.
Okay.
I'm like, it's funny. I'm kind of like out of a lot of fandoms that Lego kind of encompasses.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, Thor's hammer. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like, is there a big nail that he needs to hit? I don't quite get. Um, so
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
like,
there is.
I think that a lot of the themes for my mocks is like I try and keep it very like I don't know, like kind of very like life and very
Yeah.
general. Like and just as a builder, I try not to go into IP at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Just as a not because I don't like it, and not that I definitely not like disparaging any
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars
Yeah. No.
builders
No.
out
No.
there or
Nope.
anything, but it's like for me, I just try and make stuff that I'm like, oh, you can see my perspective,
Sure.
or
Yep.
something that's kind of like you know unique and a bit
Yeah.
different.
Yep.
But I have a lot of people are bullying me to do a Star Wars build eventually. They're like, no, bro, you're not an A-fold unless you do a Star Wars build here and there. Triple
Jeez,
your
man.
followers, mate.
Man, that
Triple, yeah,
Star Wars crew, man, they're rough.
I know. I know. I know. Yeah, and whenever I get followed by someone with like a Star Wars profile picture, I'm like,
Uh oh.
oh,
Well,
oh.
you know what? It maybe it's and I don't want to speak on Australia as a whole because I think I only know two of you, you and Katie. I
Yeah,
don't think I
yeah,
have interacted with anybody else, but
yeah,
Katie does not like Star Wars, so
yeah.
don't feel bad.
Famously, and we're probably the only two people in the country.
Well, I would certainly. So have you seen the movies though?
I love. No,
Okay,
I'm a Star Wars fan. I love the movies. I love Rogue One. That's like my favorite modern one.
okay,
I've seen everything. I've seen bits of the Clone Wars, but it's just kind of like my least favorite theme to build. I think it's not as creative as the other ones. You're always doing like it's kind of grey.
Yeah.
kind of lots of gray, lots of like dark red. And when I'm like, oh, there's so many other kind of fun
Yeah.
things. I've definitely got ideas for Star Wars mocks.
Okay.
Like I literally have a few of them.
Okay.
But they're kind of low on the list.
Sure.
There's all these other
Yeah.
ones that I'd rather. But Joss, who's J for Joss on
Okay.
Instagram. If you don't follow him, you definitely should. He's
I'll check it out.
probably,
Okay.
I think he's probably the most. He's got like 70,000 followers. He
Oh,
doesn't need more
oh gosh.
followers
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
Don't bother, don't bother. But he's a fantastic builder. I reckon
Okay.
probably one of the best in the world. But we did a live build in the Lego store in Pitt
Okay.
Street,
Okay.
and what they had was they had a bunch of Lego sets that they wanted to display,
Okay.
and they got us to make like a base for it, like
Okay.
a planet that they could display
Sure.
on there. And I was like, oh, this is my first Star Wars build. And Joss was like, yeah, this is my first Star Wars build as well. We were like, this is it. First and last Star Wars build. And people kept coming up and we were like, yeah, we're kind of building like a swamp or something. And they were like, oh, is this like uh, Tatooine, and we were like, no, it's not. We just made our own planet. And someone would be like, oh, that's definitely the Sarlacc swamp from the Clone Wars, and we are like, no,
Yeah.
like we're like, this is why. Can't get into it.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, it's the two communities that I feel have the biggest following and biggest
Yeah,
support would be the Star Wars community
yeah,
and the Castle community.
oh yeah,
Those two seem to be like the two big ones. I have a couple of buddies that we do some Lego set drafts on some lives, and
cool.
anytime you do a draft, like you have to pick a Star Wars and you have to pick a
Yeah,
castle because you're going to
yeah,
get those
yeah.
votes from from those circles. So um,
I haven't seen any Star Wars Castle mocks. I think that's the kind of like golden snitch of Lego building. Maybe
that
that's
would
what I'll do.
be yeah. You know what, we've actually talked about that, trying to mix the two together. Bring Star Wars and Castle together and see what you can come up. So yeah, I would love to see what you could come up with mixing the two together.
Yeah, it might be
So
cool. Yeah,
something
I can see
else for
that.
you to do in 2025.
Yeah, I mean the closest, not to if everyone's like too much Star Wars talk, but just to get a little deeper into it, Vader's Citadel from one of the movies. Can't remember which it is, but that's a cool. Like, Chris is saying he knows what a golden snitch is. I've seen movies.
I've seen
I'm normal.
movies.
I'm normal. I'm all right. But
Oh,
this Vader kind of has like a cool citadel
yeah.
that kind of looks like a
Yep.
castle.
Yep.
It's like and I like the design of that. It's all the kind of the streams of
Yep.
lava flowing in, and then they kind of come out as one kind of stream, and it's about how he can kind of channel raw emotion into something focused. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
that's cool. That's really cool.
So you could
So
you
maybe
could
something like that.
take that set and build off of it.
Yeah, and maybe
Or I
we
mean,
just get some Fast and Furious stuff in there. Put some Quidditch posts. Really, just cross off all the fandoms. Just make it a
hey,
real salad.
as long as you have Dominic Toretto saying family, you can just bring everybody together. So,
This is a good mock. Yeah, mix Vader's Castle and Bower. Do it. Yeah, this is great.
yeah,
This is
see, yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
That's so Mav. He's the guy we do together Mondays and Fridays, and we like to bring trying to bring the community together, and that's one of our goals. And so
yeah,
that was one of the running jokes was trying to bring the different communities together.
yeah,
And one of our friends, she's really big in the castles and doesn't do Star Wars, so we said, why don't you combine them? And then he brought up Vader's
yeah,
castle.
yeah,
It's like that's the perfect way to get them together. So.
yeah.
Um,
That's good thinking, Mav. I like it.
yeah, and it's that's again, so that's why I started this series. I think I mentioned to you is
Yeah,
that there are so many creative people in the community, and it's so hard to be seen with how many people are on Instagram,
yeah.
and the algorithm doesn't always get you the way you want to be. And so I don't even remember how I came across you, but I'm thankful I did because like you've taught me a lot in a short time, and like obviously you're a great person, and you
Oh,
have like
thanks,
a
man.
whole other side. Oh, no, yeah, I'm just being honest. And you bring like a whole different aspect from a different side of the world that like I'm very unfamiliar with. So it's really nice to get to learn like about the things that you do and different ways you guys look at things. And
Yeah.
that's what's so
Oh,
fun
I
is getting to
appreciate it.
learn about different
Yeah,
people. So
yeah,
um,
totally. Yeah, yeah, totally.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so before I wrap up, just a couple quick things. Do you now have you ever been over here to the States?
Uh, like yeah, when I was 7 years old or something.
Okay,
I think we stopped over in LA for a few days or
that
something. So
seems
technically, yeah, I've
a
got the
common,
on the
yeah, common
passport
stuff.
stamp, but not really. No, no.
Any plans to ever any visit over here?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, where I'm gonna be heading over to Denmark this year to
Okay,
go to the Lego house because my one
nice.
of my builds is in the gallery
I did
there.
not know
That's just a
that.
that's a
Okay,
humble brag, just
okay,
off
yeah,
the
yeah,
bat.
yeah. What do you have over
Uh,
there?
it's a it's a half of a I built like a pirate ship cross section. It's on my
Oh, interesting.
profile. You can see it. So
Okay,
that's in the masterpiece gallery. So I'm like, oh, I gotta kind of go.
you said that's on
So
your Instagram.
yeah, should be. Yeah, in
Why
there.
don't I
It's like
remember
a
seeing that?
it's like a it's like a cross section of a pirate ship.
Okay, I'll have
Um,
to. Oh yeah,
Although
yeah, yeah. Yep, yep, yep,
I have
yep.
no
Okay,
idea because I sent that off
yeah,
to Denmark and it's a long way, and I
yeah.
have no idea if it arrived in any fit state because I am not a structural builder.
Sure, yeah.
I definitely have strengths, but making things kind of go together and stay together is not. Chris says I was in Denmark for Skybek this past September. No, it wasn't there. It arrived in December,
Okay,
so you would have missed it. You would have seen the other cool stuff though, Chris. Um, but yeah, so we'll be heading that way.
okay.
But there's a few people I know who now work for Lego in Denmark, so I'm really excited to see them and
Good, good.
catch up and do
Yep.
all those bits and pieces. But yeah, US trip is definitely in the works after that.
Well, so now I think you guys have. I think Katie said you guys have a convention coming up in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Are you going to
Yeah,
that?
I'm not going to that, but there's one in Melbourne and there's one in Sydney.
Okay,
So I'll go to the Sydney one's a few months later.
okay.
So I'll do that
Well,
one.
now when
Yeah,
you
but
go to those, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'll be sad to miss it because it's really great.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
Now, will you display at those, or will you just go to visit?
Yeah, no, I'll go and display. Usually not
Okay.
much. It's just
Yeah,
usually like it's like here's my mocks,
yeah,
guys. Here's some stuff. But I always try and take stuff that people can play with. Like I'll
yeah.
always take a couple of Game Boys
Okay,
and mocks that people can kind of like kids can pick up because
sure.
they you know or like the Lego mic would be great because kids can play with it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
this thing where like I find that at conventions and stuff, the kids are like, no, don't touch. The parents are like, don't touch. You're not allowed to touch. So they're like so
Yeah,
ready. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to have a little station where they can play with everything and pick it up
yeah,
and
yeah.
and they can take it apart and if it breaks, I can show them how to put it back together because
Sure.
that's
Man, you're
I'm
going to
so
be the
behind.
fun table.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have to kind of be like, but don't touch that one. Don't touch
Yeah,
Mox's
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
because that is fragile,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. No,
So yeah,
I get you.
I'll be displaying in Sydney definitely.
Good, good. Well, I will look forward to seeing if you post stuff on social
Yeah,
media
definitely.
displays, and then I'm looking forward to the cuckoo clock at some point this year,
Coming
and
soon. Work in progress.
it's January 4th or is it 5th? No, it's 5th for
Yeah,
you. So
it's
you
fifth.
still
Yeah,
have
yeah,
what
same here.
361 days?
Exactly.
So yes,
At least this time.
I would love to go to Sydney. So I got to work on getting my passport, and then I'll reach out to you, and you can give us
Yeah.
some travel guide
Oh,
information. So
definitely. Yeah. I'd be happy to. Yeah, come have a beer.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, is there anything that you want to share, or any socials you want to get out there again for anybody to check out? Again, you have your rebrickable where you have your mock instructions on
Yeah.
there if people want to check that out.
Yeah, of
That
course.
is.
And obviously if anyone wants to if you like the instructions and you're like, oh, $2 is breaking me. I get it, cost of living.
Yeah, well, yeah,
um please just DM me. Be happy to share any of my instructions anytime.
Okay.
I just want people to build stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for everyone who's joined. And
Yes. Yep. For sure. I appreciate.
it's been a fun.
I always like to ask down the road. I always like. I've been getting that where I'd like to check in with everybody, and so maybe sometime in your
Yeah,
winter, my summer, we can
yeah,
check back
yeah,
in, see how the years progressed for you there.
yeah. That's great.
So
You can keep me accountable on cuckoo
I
clocks and all the mocks that I said I'd
I
make for
will
the
do.
game.
Yeah, the Castle Star Wars. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna write that down because
yeah.
I don't want to forget. So. Well, Nick, I really appreciate you taking the time again with me today, and like I said, I do hope to see you here in the future here. And
Yeah,
then, if you don't mind, I just want to remind everybody that in about an hour, I have another episode for round two of a doubleheader tonight. So that is 10 p.m. Eastern time. Nick, you're more than welcome to stop by and join. If you're not, I think you said you're going back to the beach, though,
yeah,
right?
probably
Yeah. Okay.
straight
So yeah,
away.
don't worry about me then. Just go enjoy the sunshine. So.
No, thank you so
uh,
much for having me, Keith, and
but
good
yeah,
luck with the rest of the show. And
yes,
have
I
a great
appreciate it.
great
And
time when
yeah,
you're up
you have a
again.
good rest of the summer for you. And then I look forward to talking to you again.
I will.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks so much.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay,
We'll see
see
you.
ya.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.